Hi, and welcome to the podcast. I'm Andrew.
I'm Caitlin.
I'm Kevin.
And we're here as usual to discuss articles from what we call the Green Page and what you can call
A
CMU.
barrel of fun.
That's right, that and CMUPTM.blogspot.com. Articles from around the business of entertainment and other things. Like this first article from Las Vegas Review Journal by Jeff Peterson, 15 little known facts about the Oscars. Take it away, fellas.
It was just that. There you go.
I mean,
Sorry.
Can't you see I'm a beautiful woman?
What was your favorite fact?
I thought that the fact that winners live longer than losers.
By 6 years for multiples.
6 years for multiples, and 4 if you just won one. So do your best. I thought that was amazing.
So if you're a loser, you not only lost, but you'll also die early and alone.
Alone.
Probably.
And I also liked the one that not everyone wants to be honored one. Just like
yeah,
personally.
George C. Scott.
Yeah, that he
and
was
Marlon
like.
Brando both have rejected Best Actor
They were like,
wins.
I don't want it because they
or
don't.
nominations? Were they?
Well, refused Best Actor award, Brando,
Yeah,
Marlon Brando, and before him, George C. Scott rejected a Best Actor trophy for Patton because he felt actors' performances should not be put in competition with one another, and I totally agree, and I think that
George C.
these are stupid. I think the Oscars are dumb. I'm sorry, I do. I think they're dumb.
Yeah, I like the parties, like to go to an Oscar party, but just because it's fun.
And you like dope snacks.
And champagne.
I get it.
Yeah.
I like that too, but I could do that without this.
I really liked that technically you only get 45 seconds.
Yeah, I always
Yeah.
wondered what the cutoff was, like how they decide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when they start playing the playoff music.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't even do that though. Like it doesn't start after 45
Well, did you
seconds.
see the Oscars this time?
No.
I didn't either, but I heard that it was really awkward because there was a speech that went on for kind of a long time, and they started like playing her off, and then she said something about her son who had died, and they like stopped playing her off, and then she kept going, and then they like played her off again.
Oh,
Which
well,
is like
my gosh.
really weird.
That's terrible.
My favorite fact was that the first Oscar ceremony in 1929 was 15 minutes long.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be
Amazing.
so fun if they went back to that just for 1 year and just like rapid fire, like best actor, best, like it'd be so much more exciting.
Well,
You'd be
they
like,
It'd be like Oprah, where she's like, you get an Oscar and you get an
yes,
Oscar.
they should just have
so much
Oprah.
energy.
It would just be like the Oprah edition of the Oscars.
I would
You
watch
get an
that.
Oscar and you get an Oscar.
To be
And
fair
it was
though, they really only had like 4 awards that year. Like they didn't have.
No, but I'm saying like that's what would be so crazy. Like the energy
Ours
of it
would
would
be
be
better.
so intense because they have like, how many awards do they have these days?
So many they don't even do them all at the award ceremony. There's a
Yeah.
bunch of stuff they
There's
do
no time.
beforehand and like
Right.
not in front of an audience. And some of them they just like FedEx you the statue, right? Like it's not.
I would love if they just
Seems
did.
right, like we would know. Does that look better or worse?
I would love if they just did
Your
like,
hair's fine.
if they did like
It's good.
3 awards per minute.
The thing that jumped out at me was that I was surprised that Kubrick only won for
I
effects.
did know that because I am a Kubrick fanatic.
I am as
actually.
well.
Yeah, he
We've
won.
never done-
He won for 2001: Space Odyssey. That was the first time he won an Oscar.
And
Yeah,
Charlie
that was-
Chaplin won only for Best Music, which is like,
Right.
wow.
And Walt Disney, #1 statue nominee and winner.
Very proud of him.
Yeah. And
And-
the second most is the guy nobody ever heard of.
Well, there's the second most nominations is John Williams, who I've heard of.
Yes.
The musician, composer. But the second most wins was Cedric Gibbons, who's an art director responsible for Singing in the Rain, Wizard of Oz, and he designed the Oscar statuette.
We all know art directors don't really do anything.
They don't really matter,
Right.
and also it's like what I hope to do.
This
You'll
is
never
a-
hear of me either.
This is
Well,
a little
that
bit of a tangent, but one of my favorite things in this article was the little like fact about how it's just difficult to sometimes distinguish between best actor and best
Right.
supporting actor.
Yeah, that was interesting.
And so like Anthony Hopkins won Best Actor in 1991 for Silence of the Lambs, but he's only on screen for 16 minutes.
Right.
Which is crazy. Like that was crazy to me because that's one of my favorite movies, and he's such a presence in that
Yeah.
movie. It feels like he's there the whole time,
Yeah.
which is just like a testament to how great his performance is. Like I said, a little bit of a tangent, but
But there's nobody else in that movie you could possibly give it to anyway. So it's sort of a moot point. Like there's no other strong male character.
I think Jodie Foster should have won both.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
I agree.
Both best male
Because
actor
gender,
and
it's like,
female. Yeah.
you know,
This day and
And
age.
supporting but that did come up with the year that Chicago was
Right.
in whatever where what's her name? Renee Zellweger was up for Best Actor or Best Actress, I guess. And then who's the other girl? Catherine Zeta-Jones was up for Best Supporting, and those roles are pretty much. I mean, they're both competing for like most of them.
Right.
So whatever. I don't.
Okay, well, Andrew's done with this topic, I guess.
Andrew's like very much over it, so we're gonna move on to
another thing about Hollywood.
Another thing about Hollywood. Forget it. Forget Hollywood.
Forget Hollywood.
Oh yeah,
These
you know that
7
thing?
cities.
Don't think about it.
Don't think about it because
It
it's
doesn't
irrelevant.
matter.
The article's called Forget Hollywood. These 7 cities are becoming film's hotspots. It's by, I actually looked this up, I'm ready. It's by Njima. She's a mononymous multimedia producer based in Pittsburgh, PA,
No
right
kidding.
where we
I
are.
wouldn't have guessed that.
I'm not kidding. I would never joke about
She did put Pittsburgh as number 1.
Njima. She did.
Yeah, we're at the top of the list, y'all, and for good
Guess
reason.
what? We are good.
Like we had.
I should explain the article before you say this, because they don't know.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Let me explain
Yeah,
the article
go.
and then, okay. So it's from urbanful.org, which is an online organization that describes itself as part magazine and part marketplace. So there you go. Their magazine features stories that highlight urban living and the communities that make up those urban communities. Communities that make up communities. Think about that. I didn't. And there's even a little tagline, the nickel tour of this article. These days, there's a shrinking list of reasons to focus on LA for filmmaking. And they talk about 7 cities that are attracting more and more filmmakers, including Pittsburgh, Albuquerque, Cincinnati, Atlanta, New Orleans, Austin, and Boston. Mostly, like the first of those, Pittsburgh, Albuquerque, Cincinnati, Atlanta, and New Orleans are all there because of tax credits. Austin presumably has some tax credits too, but they also have great weather and good film festivals. And then Boston, the only reasons they could give was that Matt Damon and Ben Affleck put them on the map, which I thought was actually like really funny. and
Massachusetts also does have very good taxes.
That's what I was like. I would assume that they only
Not
mentioned-
30%. Like I was pretty amazed
That's a
at that
lot.
number. Yeah,
That's a lot.
big number.
Yeah, like cut your production cost by a third.
Essentially,
That's
yes.
amazing, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, what do we think? I mean, away from LA and to these other places.
I mean, I think it's cool. Like, it's great to have movies being shot in Pittsburgh all the time.
Yeah.
Didn't seem like news to me. The only 2 towns on this that I didn't think of already as film hotspots were Cincinnati, which I'd never heard of that as being true, and Albuquerque.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Albuquerque. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Albuquerque's like totally blowing up in a lot of ways right
Yeah.
now. So
A lot of
Sure.
places.
Well, you know, there is that Weird Al song about it, so I feel like.
Oh my God, that's why.
and Bugs Bunny mentions it all the time. So right there.
Between those two.
I feel like people are just a little slow on the uptake. But
Yes.
yeah, I mean, I saw this movie, The Fault in Our Stars,
Uh-huh.
because I have younger sisters,
And loves.
and they got it.
book and film.
Well, I mean, also that.
Yeah.
But I mean, they got it for Christmas and forced me to watch it. And I didn't know that was shot in Pittsburgh, but that is apparently a huge deal.
Mhm.
That movie.
Yeah.
Foxcatcher was shot here, which I enjoyed very much.
Yeah.
The Dark Knight, duh.
Yeah.
Yep, and more coming this summer. I hear there's a lot of work out there right now for people looking for it for film, which is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
I have a friend who is he's in IATSE, and he's a set painter, and he has not had a hard time finding work in the last few years.
He's
Yeah.
in Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
Based here? Yeah, there's a lot of film going on.
Yeah, another good reason to come to Pittsburgh, y'all, if you're looking for a place that is easier to live in and still has work for you than Hollywood.
I mean, the only thing I was thinking about this, and this could be one of those things where like the costs or the benefits outweigh the costs. But I was like, is this going to be? I wonder about the environmental impact of this. The fact that like people are like, you'd still be based somewhere. Are people still living in LA, and this means that they're like trucking all their stuff to Cincinnati, or is it like? Hopefully, because like in Pittsburgh, I know there are people who are based here.
Yeah, we even have a studio here now.
Lots of
the
studios.
31st Street
Yeah.
studio.
No, I think they
Hopefully that's
employ a lot of local people.
Mhm.
Yeah, hopefully that's like predominant, because like
The money's still coming out of LA for sure.
That's what I'm wondering is like how much of the, and maybe it's just representing a shift and it'll actually make this better. But I do wonder about
I kind of doubt that you can replace the studio money system
Right.
that has evolved over 100 years in Hollywood.
It's just kind of metastasizing.
Right, but I mean, as long as the rest of the country can take that money, I think that's great.
Yeah.
I want to
Take
bleed
it.
California dry, just like.
I mean,
everybody
maybe
else.
there's horrible downsides to films being here, but I don't know what they are.
No, and I was thinking too, like that. Doesn't it make more sense in some ways? I know that it's nice as a film studio to construct, to fabricate a set. You know, even if I wanted to replicate a New Orleans environment, I would replicate a set so that I can control things like light and all the textures, and I can take away a wall or whatever. But you know, we're doing the TV project right now. We just ended it, and it was nice to be in a space. We're filming it as something that it replicates a TV film set experience. We're filming it in a warehouse where we have a lot of just natural texture, and it's nice. It's nice to have a backdrop that's already exists.
Right.
So wouldn't that make sense?
And dust.
And dust, but you can get like if you're trying to create a film that's in New Orleans, for example, wouldn't it be nice to film it in New Orleans where there's like nuance that maybe you couldn't replicate in history?
Yeah,
it's kind of great.
And it's like the great thing about a city like Pittsburgh, and I think some of these other cities like Cincinnati and probably Austin, is that you have like urban areas where you can make downtown Pittsburgh feel enormous, like they did in The Dark Knight, by intercutting it with shots of New York. But you also, very close at hand, have very rural areas, like just like 15 minutes outside the city. So it's like a really versatile environment that LA is not as much.
And like, and production costs. I mean, aside from the fact that you get tax breaks, they were also talking about the fact that it's cheaper to be here than in New York. So things like food, which doesn't seem like that big a deal, but if you multiply by 1,000 people, getting cheaper food is a big deal.
For like 6 months.
Yeah, that's a big deal. Or
it's
cheaper living plans, cheaper places to stay. So you know, it makes sense.
So bring your movie to Pittsburgh, people.
Bring it.
Yeah,
I
forget
know
Hollywood.
I know they're watching.
And while you're here, you can go explore the historic Hill District that our last article for this session is about, from Trib Live, which is the Pittsburgh Tribune paper's website, and by a woman named Kate Benz, entitled "Music in the Hill Was a Way of Life Until Progress Silenced Venues." And this article was about, it's about something that happened all over the country, really. In the middle of the century, last century, some people call it urban renewal, other people called it, urban blight. The idea that we would remake our downtown areas, and the Hill District in Pittsburgh, if you've never been here, used to be this really thriving artistic community. People called it the Little Harlem. There was a lot of music going on there. All the big jazz greats came through. It was a bustling music and art scene, especially for the African American community here in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it was like one of the most vibrant African American communities and music scenes, right, for jazz at least, in the entire world.
Well, and not just African American. This article points out that it's very diverse. There's like a ton of, a ton of African American people, but also
a big Italian population, Polish. It's very diverse.
Right.
Which is cool.
And then in the middle of the century, to make way for sort of re-envisioning Pittsburgh's, as the steel mills closed. It's sort of the story that's behind a lot of the shifts that happened culturally here in Pittsburgh, was in the 60s and 70s.
Country too. I mean, like suburbanization, like everybody wanted to move out to the suburbs and like have their own little plot of land and like these suburban housing communities, and so like the cities were a lot of like urban communities were sort of like let drive their residents, and so there's all this talk about like, well, what do we have to do to like restructure cities to make them more livable or desirable? And they led to like often massive urban renewal projects, which like totally gutted like business districts, like we saw in East Liberty, in the '60s, and they tore down huge venues in the Hill District, which gutted those communities, and they're still recovering. Like they still recovered. Like the Hill District is there's this kind of map of restaurants and clubs and nightlife and stuff, and galleries, just stuff to do in Pittsburgh, called the Urbanist Guide to the City, and it's a map of the city, and there's all this stuff on it, and like right in the middle of the map of Pittsburgh, it's just like this empty space, and it's the Hill District because there's just nothing. There's just
which is crazy too, because you drive around up there and you're like, oh my god, this is amazing. Like there's these beautiful, like the landscape are these rolling hills. There's all these houses that were obviously like really great and nice at one point, and it's like a minute and a half from downtown. Like, why would you not want to live there? So I guess what happened is like the closer part to downtown that had a lot of those venues got bulldozed for parking lots and office buildings and such.
Well, it was the Civic Arena.
And the Civic Arena.
The Civic Arena is the hockey stadium that has since been torn down, but was built in the late 60s. It was like after the race riots that happened in a lot of cities in the 60s. The Civic Arena was built right at the base of the Hill District, between the Hill District and downtown, which totally, cut off traffic going through the Hill District into the downtown business district.
There.
Yeah, and it totally, like what happened in East Liberty, it totally diverted traffic around the business districts and just like really starved that community of its main, economic income. And so,
I mean, this guy,
it's really sad.
The director of the African American programs at the History Center has a quote in this that I think sums all this up. His name is Samuel W. Black, and he says, "It's not just wiping out an old, dilapidated building or whatever. You're also tearing down a venue that attracts people nationally to the city. So that's gone, and that's gone forever. So when you knock down the bricks and mortar, you kind of knocked away everything, and I think that's the real sad part of it." And I think that's true, like that's something that you don't think, it's, urban renewal, it's better. He's like, no, like you knocked it down and it's gone. And it is they've never recovered. They talk about it in this article as being, an open wound.
Yeah, and it's sad because Pittsburgh is a cool city, but it could be so much cooler.
Yeah.
If that community, if that scene was still here with us,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we can only work to get it back, and I know there's a lot of development and stuff that's potentially going to be happening in the Hill District soon, which I totally applaud, as long as it also doesn't displace residents. I'm not sure how
I think
to play
it will.
that game.
I mean, I feel like development today in Pittsburgh is for middle class to rich white people. Like it's all going to be big. Pittsburgh is going to be all Bakery Square.
Well, then it's on us to make sure that doesn't happen if you care about it.
I'm depressed now.
Okay.
Well, let's take a break.
Let's take a break.
Heavy.
We'll let Kevin take a break and come to terms with the new Pittsburgh, or we can discuss off screen the ways we're going to keep it from.
It'll take like 3 to 5 minutes.
3 to 5 minutes, we'll have it all figured out.
Yeah.
And then we'll be back to talk about more articles from the Green Page again. You can find those articles at cmuptm.blogspot.com, and we'll see you in a few minutes.